Hello, good people. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you back to Brands Academy, where learning is made easy. We are still touching on creative art and sport, that's grade 8 work. Today I want us to dive into this part of melody. Without wasting more time, let's go direct to our lesson. It's good we start by defining what melody is. So we find that melody is that sequence of musical notes that are played or sung in a specific order to create a tune. Melody is the main part of a song that people recognize and remember. So, in short, you have been asked to give the definition of a melody. Which answer are you going to give? You can talk about melody is the main part of a song or the main tune of a song. That is enough. The main part of a song that people recognize and remember, or the main tune of a song, because remember, it's creating that tune that people will sing in a specific order. Now, we find that melodies can be simple or complex, and they are typically carried by a vocalist or a lead instrument. In short, melody is a musical sentence that tells a story or conveys a feeling. So let's now touch on the describing method of creating a melody. How do we create a melody? Now, when we want to create a melody, there are some methods we are going to use. Let us now talk about the question and answer phrase. Question and answer phrase. And it's good we have the knowledge of what is a phrase or what are phrases. So these are short sections in form of a sentence or lines of words that a song naturally falls into. Short sections in form of a sentence or lines of words that a song naturally falls into. We'll be describing that one as we continue. Now, in music, we find that a phrase refers to a series of notes that communicate a musical idea. That series of notes that communicate a musical idea. For example, you find that you have been told to create or compose a 4-bar melody. So the first measure or the first bar will make the first 2 bar, or just the first bar will make a phrase, because remember it's made up of a series of notes that communicate a musical idea. Now, musical phrases come in 2 forms. That is question phrase and answer phrase. Question phrase and answer phrase. When you talk about a question phrase, we are talking about a melody in a melody does not sound complete or final. It tends to ask a question which should be answered by another phrase. A question. When we talk about a question, there must be an answer. So that's as simple as that. So a question phrase, it sounds incomplete in a melody unless an answer phrase is provided. So that one will take us to another part, which is an answer phrase. So here you will find that an answer phrase in a melody sounds complete and final. It serves as a response to the question phrase and usually marks the end of the melody or music. It marks the end of the melody or music. Here I have 2 examples here. We have part A and we have part B. We have part A and part B. So there you can take a good look at the example there in part A and part B. Then here we have now the combined, they are now combined. So in part A you will find that it's a question phrase, then part B it is an answer phrase. In part A it's a question phrase, and then in part B it's an answer phrase. So in part A that melody is incomplete because it's a question phrase. It's incomplete. So when we provide part B, now it makes that melody to be complete. That's now when we combine it, it's now a complete melody. And as you can see the statements down there, the question phrase should end on a solfa syllable, re, so, or ti. As you can see, our first phrase, question phrase, it's ending on re. It's ending on re. Then it makes a melody sound suspended or incomplete, as we have discussed there. Then when you talk about the answer phrase part, should end on solfa syllable, that is re, di, or to, D on a long note. Remember when you write like this, they are combined. It can be a grouped quiver which make up a crochet when it's written like that. That's why they are saying on a long note. So they are combined notes or grouped notes. We write them like that. So the first Re will take the first quiver and Do will take the second quiver. When we come to the or T will take the first quiver, Do will take the last quiver. So this makes Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Mi, Re, Do, Re, Re, Mi, Re, Do. So the melody will now sound complete when it's written like that. So if you have any question or query on this part, let me know as we continue under the comment section so that we can elaborate on it. Let's move to something else. Now, after having the knowledge of the answer phrase and a question phrase, let's now talk about composing a tuba answering phrase to a given tuba opening phrase. That opening phrase is a question phrase. So how can you compose a tuba melody using the answer phrase to a given tuba opening phrase, which is a question phrase? So a phrase mark is a curved line that goes over or under a group of notes in music, and it usually shows that those notes should be played or sung smoothly like a sentence in a story. So there is an example of a melody with the phrase marks. As you can see, these are the phrase marks we are talking about. We have here the phrase mark A, then we have phrase mark B. This one which are up the staff, they are the phrase mark. So part A, it's connecting the first bar and the second bar of the question phrase. Then part B, the B one is connecting the first bar and the second bar of the answer phrase. So this is the answer phrase to this question phrase. Remember, a complete melody should have 4 bars. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So in exam, you'll be given the 2 bars, this one and this one. Then you are supposed to provide an answer phrase to those 2 bars. So the answer phrase should also have 2 bars to make it a 4-bar melody. We will touch on how to come up with the technique used in extending the melody. Those are the techniques that we'll use to provide an answer phrase to a given question phrase. So let's move to something else as we continue. I hope you are learning. Yes, let's now touch on the techniques of extending a melody. Techniques of extending a melody. And the first technique is exact repetition. Exact repetition. Remember, under rhythm, we talked about this part, how to extend the rhythm, but now here it's exact. There we're just talking about repetition of notes, but here it's now exact repetition. So melody extension is a way to make a melody longer by adding more note value and phrases to it. That's melody extension. That way or technique of making a melody long by adding more note values and phrases to it. So when you talk about exact repetition, is when the melody is repeated exactly as it was the first phrase without any changes. Don't change anything. Here it's when now I tell my learners just copy and paste. Just now here we are using the skill of observation. Are you able to observe? So observation skill is tested under this technique because you are just repeating what you have been given under the question phrase in the 2 bars. Just copy the way it is, write it in the answer phrase of the 2 bars, and you will have done. Let's check on example here that I have used here. We see what we are supposed to do. Now, when you check on my example here, we have the question phrase, the first bar and the second bar. You can check on the position of our notes. Here the first note is on the second line as it goes here. Check here. Now we are using exact repetition. Just check this note. This is the first bar of the question phrase. We have the first bar of the this is the first bar of the answer phrase, and we have the first bar of the question phrase. The first note and the first note in both phrases, they are at the same point. Check on the last note in the second bar of the question phrase and the last note in the second bar of the answer phrase. They are at the same point, so just exact repetition. Don't change anything. So we have the first phrase and the second phrase. So now the second phrase gives us the melody extension because we have already extended that melody. That's what you are supposed to do. So let's go to another technique that is called varied repetition. And under varied repetition, we are talking about a melody is repeated but with some small changes. Now here you make some small changes. For example, these changes can include altering the rhythm, adding extra notes, or changing the pitch. For example, if the original melody is do re mi, now the extension could be do re mi fa mi re di. Let's check on example here. Now, on our first example, we have been given the question phrase with the two bars, the first bar and the second bar. Now, we are supposed to extend it using the varied repetition. We vary the notes. As you can see, the first bar, it's just the way it is. I have just repeated it because it's varied repetition. So you can decide you repeat the first bar the way it is. Now, when you check the second bar, there are some changes. Here we had used the note values which are crochet. Here it's 1, 1, 1, which give us 3. But now when you come to the second bar of the answer phrase, we have varied the note values where we have 1 crochet and 2 minims. So here I have introduced a minim, and also the pitch, I have changed the pitch. For example, when you check here, this note is up here, so it's high. When it comes here, this note is low. It has moved down one step. Same to the last note. As you can see here, it was on the second space down. Then here, it's on the second line from down. So the pitch has also been changed. So that's what we call when you talk about varied repetition. When you come to the last example here, you can see here now this under the question phrase we have been given the first bar. We have been given 2 minims and 1 crochet, which give us 3, which is 3, 4. When you come to this first bar of the answer phrase, they have used variation of notes. They have changed the note values. They have used different symbols now. They have used 3 crochets instead of the minim and a crochet. When you check on the last bar of the question phrase and the last bar of the answer phrase, there are also some changes there. You can see it here. They decided to use the grouped quivers. Here the same, but now the position changes. This one, it moves down 1 step. This one moves down 1 step. Here they used 2 crochets, but here they decide now to include a minim which has 2. So that's what you are supposed to do when you talk about varied repetition. You are using the different note values, you use different note symbols, as long as you come up with the time signature which you have been given. That's all for today. As we meet next, we'll be continuing with the melody. Now we'll be talking on how to compose a 4-bar melody using the question phrase and answer phrase. Thank you, and may God bless you. Remember to subscribe, share, comment, and like. And if you haven't joined our community, join. Click on the tab there, join. It will just have to pay a small amount of 100 shillings to be a member of Brian's Academy. Thank you very much.